Sam is my grandfather. The Nazis are my first cousin. I'm deep in this bitch like oil. I've been trading arms to underdeveloped countries, told generals to chop off arms and they get more arms. I see these children as dollar signs. I put the politician in pimp. Got whole governments on a whole show. Let me tell you a little bit about my history. I was born in murder, spread across borders, tattooed genocide across my neck. I'm a fiend for the green. Napoleon said everything my eyes look upon is mine. An imperial civilization that was savage to its subjects, and I've introduced every disease from the black plague to syphilis. Cause in my line of work, if people ain't screaming, I ain't earning. If bodies ain't hitting the floor, my bottom line ain't flying. Went to church, and boy, Jesus, now holy with capitalism. Got a boost from one that became a payday. Hitler told me to finish my breakfast, so I bombed the towers. People needed to be reminded I got the end of the world at my fingertips. Breathing destruction when I whispered slavery in Columbus's ear. It paid off so well, I'm still tweaking it till this day. Sit back and watch you run as I fit the ash on the skull and bones in my ashtray. My name is America, or if you prefer the 13 colonies. I got bankrolls and flesh. Peace to me is starvation. War makes the money, and I'm an expert at playing on your insecurities. All I see is dumb and dumber. More money in this spot now. I can buy your soul 1,000 times over and still have change left to give you a job. I give the world just enough to survive, but never enough to change their condition. And I got the Bible working in overdrive, cause belief is a cash cow. Cash your hard-earned dollars in on salvation. I got a mansion underneath the Vatican. It all comes back to me. You can slave for 40 years, and you can pay for 40 years. I keep people hungry so I can build more prisons. Back the dollar with lies so gold could be obsolete. I got secret societies, I don't need to be diplomatic. Democracy is just my storefront, but I'm manufacturing pure grade A world domination. Stop the international news from getting in and saturated you with reports of gang violence in Brittany. Cut school from me because it doesn't make me any money if our children are smart. I need people in debt around me so I can leverage the situation to my benefits. Got tired of doing all this by myself, so I birthed big businesses. Now we all keep the money between us. Only the strong survive. Only the cold-hearted live to see another sunrise. And the criminals at the bottom got nothing on the criminals at the top. Just look at our healthcare system, our social security system. Been this way since the Indians been trying to tell you. Ain't shit you can do about it. Showed you movies of how I get down, so you know what's in store for you if you try to get out. I'm America, baby, and I got my pimp hand on your heartstrings. So what you need to do is what you've always done, and bend the fuck over.
Has anybody heard about the youth that was killed in Chicago?
Yeah.
Can I get a moment of silence for the brother? Not only for him, but for the youth that committed the murder, because we lost them as well. About the third week of November, I will be going to speak in Chicago about that whole incident. I'm a motivational speaker and a youth developer, as well as a motivational spoken word artist. I wrote this for those trigger finger fists and fury for whatever looks like me. They act like they crazy. But frankly, I believe most won't shoot the sheriff or the deputy that let's lock the noose that got them hung by a jury of their unknown peers. And I wrote this for those who owe no stock or property on the blocks that they be repping not one brick. On the project steps that they pissed on, left plasma stains, perspiration, salted eye water, and became statistics on. And I wrote this for the throwbacks and for the cat lovers that refuse to rise up and break loose the 13th Amendment traps that bind and shackle us. See, in God we trust, they just hustling and hustling every day. They just hustle. Until they can find the tactics by designers of crime stories that align us with the glorious details of mind to find us back in the saddle again. Riding a high horse, convicted, addicted to all sorts of chemical substances. I wrote this for them. But I wrote this for the students too. Be you navigating high school or walking them hollow halls of high academia. Be you hooked on fun or just stuck on calculus. Be you sorority, fraternity, Freemason, Greek, or maybe you just independently trying to obtain a parchment puzzle piece that's gonna fit you in a position that you really need to be. And I trust that you all listen to me. Cause right about now, see, this is the part of the poem where a whole bunch of y'all are about to get pissed with me. I wrote this for those who be smoking.
Bring it.
Which is believed to be official. U.S. grade, purple haze, just another shade of blue man group, aka U.S. government chronic for you to get your smoke on. You see, your granny and your mama and them, they should have been done put you on to the 1960s, 1970s. Heroin, the American gangster, was aided by the American government to flood their community and break up their black power and unity.
Let's go.
1980s and 1990s crack epidemic that had a nation of millions addicted, dead, and incarcerated. Now tell me, what makes you believe that in these 2 G's your weed just might not be grown from a hybrid seed genetically enhanced to boost the level of THC? Tetrahydrocan cannabis is a natural marijuana chemical, true indeed, and if used properly, it does have medicinal properties. But at 7, I said 7 to 24 times the normal level, any medicine becomes toxic. Now imagine if you rap and one of Brown and Williamson's, no matter how late cherry flavored nicotine drop. And if you like that, you inhale it into your bloodstream. See, I wrote this for you to know this death wish is for you. I wrote this for them purple stuff drinkers, the pimp juices, and glitter goblins. Just 1 or 2 swallows when I be standing up falling in slow motion. You be slow quoting these scripts that I wrote.
Come on.
You've been sipping on some Nike Robitussin, some actual Wayne, that shit is codeine called scissor. Don't you know that over-the-counter prescription posters are far more deadly than illicit dope? Why? Because you can pick your poison, it's socially acceptable, it's more readily available. I wrote this to let you know that Oxycontin pills sell for just $1 a milligram on the streets where I grew up on in Boston. Now if 1 pill is 80 milligrams, now you just do the aftermath. A 20-pill prescription is a recipe for a dual addiction, both money and painkillers. They mix like oil and bottled water, both owned and operated. Dollar by subscription, case scraping bound by the World Bank and their affiliates. Them CEOs, they be wheelchair dealing that shit to your HMO. I wrote this because the Hippocratic oath is drowning in an hypocrisy of red tape and insurance policies. Drive-through checkups and fast-track examinations, often misdiagnosed with ails. And I've been diagnosed unwealthy and told to take 2 generic remedies and make another appointment to see my primary care PhD. I wrote this because the elderly are forced to make life and death decisions between medication, food rent, and utilities. They're covered fair, more prescriptions than groceries. I wrote this because pharmaceutical companies will have you believe that you taking more and more of this medicine's gonna get you healthy. But their television commercials always in the fast talk, small print, and side effects.
With you, match my fire, melting skin, pyromaniac, burn for burn. Curdle lips like paper until my tongue is left, fluttering my breeze. When you step here, air gets so thick and gripping wet, I swear a trail of kudzu follows your step to my door. Vines grow fast in your humidity. You are Sosa and Sulphur Springs. You're Louisiana Bayou in August, alligator snapping at my ears. You're the bar on a hot night when beer's on special and everyone crowds for their little piece of condensation. You are not the storm, baby. You're the weight before the storm. Oppression of expectation, molasses heavy and sweet as your Portuguese honey. Your heat is incessant, like rust and God, recalling how my 8-year-old mind always thought Hades would be a much more interesting place to dwell. You check these healthy hips just inside of napalm and remind me how women are full of atoms, split us and we get dangerous. But before the discharge of electrons looking between us, before the convulsive tempest generated by our ferocity, before the fat pops and a girly curl fire we ignite, I wait and simmer in the air you stew with the smell of your musky heart. I swallow your cavernous fever until I am slick with chills and sweat, music slithering and laughing between my legs. This is how I like to watch things burn. You pull hot stars from the sky and push them into my cunt, knowing I fight but like the sting. You turn me into kerosene, flammable as I wait for the hour I can begin to howl under your intimate sneering. You do this. You do this to me, and I am furious! For what am I to do with all this combustible material when you are no longer here to ignite it? Who else holds hell in her pocket and a matchstick for a time? I suppose when you are thickening the air over someone else's bed, bed some midnight when air has cooled enough to take your blaze. I will come in my own bed. Come with shaking buttocks, burning from holding the clench. Come the way I thought only you could make me. I will sneeze and hiss out my tongue and smile. Because I will know who really holds the matches.
Keep that money in CG, right here. Crystal clear daydreams and high definition nightmares. I awaken links of sweat. Time is running out like the ink and cheap pens. The people I call enemies are the ones you call friends. I smile at death, but I cry at reality. My independent thoughts inside of this incarcerated heart. My honest emotions are like old VHS tapes and an old VCR. You have to have the right tools to get inside me to see what drives me, what moves me, and what motivates me. This is the broken-hearted life. I dream of white skies with blue clouds, golden rivers and seas, and at night I use tombstones for pillows and dream about ivory skies with black stars, looking for a shooting star so I can transform into Phoenix, trying to walk across every ghetto, slum and projects on the other side of the tracks. I want to rescue the misguided, headed in the wrong direction and erect them to be constellations, because they're being brought up in a solar system designed to keep them under the stars, never being able to touch their dreams. I'll tell them keep their heads in open books instead of keeping their faces in open cases and central booking. This is the broken-hearted life. The media brainwashes us with sex, money, and drugs, and I must admit, I've been addicted to the few. Because the power of the PUSSY, I have you doing things that's not in your character. Trying to make more money, because the sex is like a drug. Only for her to tell you weren't long enough, strong enough, too skinny, too fat, too nice, too mean, need a better car, need a better job. Well, I better start all over. Because her insecurities made her heart rest inside of Fort Knox. She said, my heart is made of diamonds, but my pockets need a deeper lining. Well, I'm sorry. Look, girl, I just needed someone to talk to, but you turned into a 12-month headache. I read the directions wrong. I was supposed to take a lesson to first life. This is the broken-hearted life. How am I supposed to survive when good old George W. Bush is the biggest porno star in America? He got us doggy style, penetrating our pockets with back shots of the declining economy. High gas, low income, and if that ain't enough, when he bought the bus, he pulls out and puts this thing called war all over your face. And Governor Jody Hellrell, her deep stroke makes the money keep coming because the state just went up on the rate of the electric bill. Now how am I supposed to pay my rent? I need gas to get to work, lights to see, even though God helps me. I need food in the fridge, but the government keeps raping me and I'm feeling it in my ribs and my son just got sick. And I only make a little more than minimum wage and my benefits are like 40% of what I make with a high-ass copay. Feel Phoenix's rage upon this stage. I feel it burning in my chest. I'm going into cardiac arrest. The defibrillator shocked me back into reality. Am I making myself clear? This is the broken-hearted life. I live my life, one stanza at a time, driving down Guy's interstate, free basing off inspiration, looking for the signs to tell me that God is not blind. Wait until I reach this exit inside of this broken-hearted life. Peace.
Poems called Me. To even try to depict me, do me a favor, grab a Dutch with flavor. I'll break up your words and roll the knowledge. Now you pull the intellect. Wait, hold it. Feel the stimulation and blow the poetry. Now that you've been held this poetic high, let's give it a try. What do you wonder when you see a woman living not by what's supposed to be? 5'8", long hair, thick thighs, little booty, and brown skin lay under the blankets of materialism that covers my exterior and tracks my interior. I'm a foreign lesson unknown to you, so approach me with caution. My mind is dense and hard to beating nightmare. Athletic and vicious, I'm going at tricks that don't create me. I'm a fiend for pulling a trigger and blowing away ignorance. I despise the fools that label themselves because society said so. Don't define me, because definitions are best friend to Webster. And don't try to look for the 411 of me. Wikipedia won't tell you the full truth. My swag busts through like a good nut. Leave them thinking, what? My attitude doesn't reflect what they thought, but what they see in me. I'm a rebel to the rules and a conformist to the abnormal. You see, most eyes that are set upon me see image of a male. Why? They say men wear this and women wear that. Claim too. Well, I wear those and these, so I'm this and that together. My uniqueness is that it's different, but swallow the judgment. I have a personality that isn't personal, I must confess. An emotion you can never configure. It's no advertisement. You see, women snicker when I pass by, cause they're intrigued by my mystery and trapped by the closet. Men beam when I walk by, showing their lips, cause they think I got between their woman split. I laugh because if my clothes were off, those men would hit. Now let's penetrate a little deeper. You roll the knowledge this time. People like me get killed for their resistance. And when I die, I'm going out smiling, knowing I was me. Many wear masks because they're horrified by who they really are. Now please wash down what I said with a glass of sense. We gotta make it common to the people so they understand. My sexuality isn't my preference, only my resource. What is me? Poetry is me. Music is me. A white rose is me. Genesis is me. Dark 4 is me. Obama is me. Matthew Shepard is me. Love is me. Pain is me. War is me. The woman in New York City that holds the torch is me. Discover something. It's seen. It's felt. It's known. And it's lived. Who am I? You are me.
So many think they know it all. So many think they are great. So many are megalomaniacal, but do they truly have what it takes? It's like they are rabbits, trapped in a maze with carrots, orbiting their confabulated halos, stagnated. I'm exasperated, listening to those forcing fraudulent frames of thinking. Jealous of the jack of all trades that are not limited. We box they primitives with lots of limericks, vocals and haikus. I've been through much peril making the cortex fertile. Giving birth to work, I'ma unearth the verse and change perception, cause it ain't just your words. If you are a spoken word artist, good lyrics with a poor presentation is like a steak minus the seasoning. We got the fakes believing in vanity season. I'm making it my purpose to disperse my merchandise. A gift beyond and beyond. When earth was savage and ignorant and perceived to be flat, the same energy proved it's spherical. I wanna move with lyricals as well as soothe with delivery. Poetic ability requires more than what one scribes. The page was a lake, and my pen was swanning through a waterfall of inspiration, and it splashed the canvas. Once contact is created the surface, I hope the mass will comprehend. Some thoughts are mentally imprisoned to conform, avoid them from getting raped or shanked, or possibly give them more visits in commissary. So, if I talk like this, if I speak like this, with a kufi, would you feel me, brothers? I hope not. Oh. If I spoke about the revolution and freedom and the struggle and black pride and apartheid and Marcus Garvey and Rastafari and John Haley Selassie and Dr. King and Malcolm X and Barack Obama, but I really have no clue. When I was locked up, some fornicating Muslim told me to, and his best friend, the penniless, homeless poet dude, would you then feel me, my brother? Right. Poetry is free, I admit, but I complain about the many that are stained with acid, perceiving that what they breathe is a gift and it's so magic, using minimal amounts of their energy and it has my soul spazzing, because they actually thought I couldn't be immaculate, because they actually view me as a mere sideshow. Now these cats in trouble because they realize this ain't my only gift, just another one of the many that God has given. So if you're slamming, bring it. Got vocals singing, you a dancer popping, an artist Picasso it, a wordsmith speaking, a collegiate reading, scientist experiment, musician composing. Be the conglomerate of all, the bold trying to venues with the necessary parts. Some have the brain and some have the heart. We strive to be the embodiment of artistry. This should be a gift that sifts through your arteries. The last thing needed is brought to the matrix, invoking inspiration. You'll know it's ignited. If you pour all night for the shit you're reciting, manifest your militants, their hands show diligence. Don't give a fuck if they feeling it. Just know and respect it. And be destined. Be destined to transcend beyond nonsense, and don't stop until your blood touches the brethren, so they can see what it takes to do the shit the proper way. Till they stop singing with soulless vocals, till they stop being monotonous monotones, till they stop spouting gibberish about our ancestors and unknown languages, till they take this shit serious and start rehearsing, till they stop only freestyling, till they stop gossiping and hating with no specific basis, till they stop stuttering, cluttering with continuous, frivolous, penis, and clitoris connotation, till they come out their closets and strip off their facades and admit what they truly are, until they realize their pursuit of poetics is a lost cause. Don't be them, don't mimic them, be the embodiment. Peace. Respect the mic, man.
How y'all doing? Good.
Alright.
She's a rose wilted in a drought summer. A cracked mirror. Image of no ambition, reflection of failure, picture of imperfection shown perfect. Her full figure don't measure what they think she should look like. Says she better learn to subtract food out of her diet while poking at her stomach to see if she'll mimic the Pillsbury Doughboy. But I don't impersonate. I just smile when my mouth ordered to keep the firecracker beneath my tongue from going off because I was taught never to disrespect my elders. But in that moment, they taught me how to wear my feelings on my sleeves and get them knocked off. My discomfort got me stuck between shame and disagreement. My insecurity scaled my psyche until my instinct broke its silence. So in the back of my mind, I keep telling myself I'm not pretty. Scared to wear shorts and fear that I got cellulite like anything I eat can and will be sold in the thing of my thighs. I'm nervous of sleeveless, afraid my arms might tickle. And my love handle shouldn't explain why my family can't put a handle on loving me for what I look like, but it does.
Damn.
When they're supposed to help me establish more of a self-love, but instead they stop my character. Built up clouds to leak in my eyes, they have no idea the impact of their words when spoken without thinking first. See, they gave it to me straight, no chaser. A shot of dramatic, rhetorical, hurtful, burnt like moonshine going down when they told me, you're fat. You shouldn't be that big because you're not married yet. You're as big as a house. What have you been doing with yourself because you let yourself go? Felt like I became a dishonor to my family's name. Like the Lewis family only give birth to Barbie. Made me feel like I need to stick my finger so far down my throat till I regurgitate every meal I ever ate in my life because beauty comes in. Can I have this and a size 0, please? Do you know how many self-mutilations could have followed that statement? And I beeline the razor's edge into my vein because I thought it would help drain my unwanted body fat. Wrapping my finger around the trigger to open the chamber door, the rest of bullet in my temple just to stop the sound of their voice in my head. Roping a Windsor knot around my neck to tie shut the open passageway that let food in because heroin could have been my hero. Bills could have been washed down with Clorox, but I'm glad God never gave me no more than what I could bear, so I wrote my disclaimer in this poem instead of a suicide note. So dear family, here's your FYI. I cannot live my life trying to fit into your fantasies. My full figure will never be what you want me to look like. I'm flawed perfect, so love me or leave me the hell alone.
Operation. Shotgun militants light a petrol-infused blaze, and a million tents go up in flames. In the iridescent glow, you write your name. You write your name. Hungered eyes watch colors fade with tulip flame. Silhouettes of faces carved in desert spheres. Dear, the departed, forbidden buds doomed through cracked window panes. March, bloom, flame. Sincerely, I miss you. You write your name. Lions devour former grazers, laying idle dartboards of bullet strays. Empty carcasses robbed of soup blazers. Camouflaged independence meet for slaughter days. Conceived in liberty, carved in face. Dictated ignorance to leave blood stains. All right, hand read. Yours truly. Sorry, you write your name.
All of this is your fault. You cast a spell with your carefree, no big deal, we ain't gotta be in love to be lovers feel. A well-rehearsed introduction of, hey, I'm not looking to get into anything serious right now. Should be, but as it turns out, is not. Enough of a disclaimer to prevent me from holding you completely responsible for my now all-too-frequent daydreams about babies that carry the exact same coffee bean hue found in your complexion or the slight curve to the left of your perfect direction of your distinct morning breath, which would be welcome if we were ever together in the morning. I might not even mind your snoring, cause when I'm sitting next to you, that's better. You're sexy, I'm clever, the other way around, whatever. When we first met, I was pretty sure you wasn't looking for anything more than a wet, warm place to store your perfect equipment for a season. That in and of itself should have been more than enough reason for me to keep it moving. Instead, I started proving that solo's just not really my style. I think I had the world fooled for a while. I used to rock single like it was that hot shit. Committed chicks ain't up on this. I'm unattached, ain't checking in with nobody, but nobody was checking in on me. Started feeling more like solitary confinement, less like liberated and free. Then here you come, offering recreation and no strings. How could I rope you? Fun and games, no feelings. How could I hope to make you feel the way I feel when I'm with you? Well, here's the bigger issue. The incessant ticking of my biological clock is deafening. It's threatening, and it's crazy because up until last year, only my mother could hear it. But now, together, she and I fear it. When we do what we do, I'm reminded of how far away I am from what I really want. What if I'm not meant to have what I really want? Because this right here is never going to be more than what it is. I'm doing my best to stay focused, and I didn't mean to introduce you to the sweetness so soon. I'm lying. You could have had it last year, but he really wasn't trying. So pursue me. Pursue me. The good news is he can't break my heart if he don't get his hands on it, and he don't want it. But this is not the healthy distraction I was hoping to find. He had the exact opposite effect of clearing my mind. I have to cut and paste experiences, remixing them into fake memories, replaying them to myself the way I would have liked things to have happened, what happened to me. I keep trying to use you back, but there is this loophole, this booby trap where I fall to pieces when the full weight of a man is on top of me. The feel of a man's hands on me, I'm not built like you. When you come, you're all done, just glad I came through, but it is after I climax, I'm forced to face the truth. We are just fucking.